Hi guys, so welcome to another video. Okay, so I don't know if it's like the same person asking or if there's like a bunch of different people asking, but I seem to get this question a lot in the comments, and that is, why did I go so crazy? And this question is usually on my experience with mania, my experience with psychosis, my mental hospital videos. Um, Alright, so I guess I'm going to answer that. Um, okay, so the simplest answer is I have bipolar type 1 with psychosis. It's just like a disease that I inherited in my genetics that gives me the proclivity, I guess, to have like crazy mood changes where I go through long periods of time where I'm like incredibly like clinically depressed, major depression pretty much, and then I have shorter but still long periods where I'm manic. And then sometimes when I'm manic, I have like psychosis. And the my experience with mania video was pretty much just talking about my most severe episode of mania and psychosis. Um, and yeah, so someone asked like what led up to that point, like the events like a few days before and all this stuff. So I didn't write down talking points, so I'm just gonna have to remember. But one thing was that I was put on antidepressants when I left the first hospital because I thought I only had major depression and generalized anxiety, which I guess would be an easy misdiagnosis because I was going through a depressed phase at that time, even though I still had psychosis. With that depression, like this, I didn't remember this. It all started like coming back as I started actually remembering because I really just like blocked that out and didn't want to look at it like until a year later or a year and a half later. So, but yeah, so I was going through a depressed phase, but I was also psychotic, aka having mild hallucinations. Actually, I think I was just having delusions at this time. I didn't have hallucinations until what I'm about to say, which is they put me on an antidepressant. It's called Celexa, and sorry, my phone. It's called Celexa, and yeah, I had been taking it for maybe 3 days, roughly, and then I was like, fuck this medication. Like, I was very like rebellious of the whole thing that was going on. And I'm like very averse to pharmaceuticals, or I was very averse to pharmaceuticals because I had like this purity complex and I didn't like the chemicals in it. I'm still that way a little bit. But yeah, so I stopped taking it, and also they gave me a sleeping pill and an anxiety medication, which did absolutely nothing. It's called Vistaril. Did absolutely nothing for me. And so yeah, then I stopped taking it, and I don't know if it was the next day or 2 days later, but anyway, I like got manic, and then like it's hard to remember like how long I was manic, after that. Was it 1 day or 2 days when it started? I don't remember because I didn't like write it down or anything. It's been a year and a half. So yeah, as a lot of people know or have heard, antidepressants can cause mania, and if you have bipolar type 1, it can cause you to hallucinate and go cray cray. So yeah, that's like the long story short, is that I have bipolar and I was put on antidepressants, and that can make mania worse. Um, and so yeah, I went the craziest that I've ever been. The delusions mixed with these hallucinations, like all at once. And I guess you can go back and watch my experience with psychosis to learn some of the psychotic thoughts I was thinking. And then obviously the experience with mania video and the mental hospital videos. I won't go into that right now. But yeah, and also I was living alone, And when I was living alone and I was manic, I did very unsavory things and weird things, and going through a relationship with someone that was like really destructive at the time because I was having delusions about the relationship and it wasn't going well. Like, this person is also mentally unstable, so anyways, so that kind of drove me a little crazy. And then, yeah, when I moved in with my parents, it was a complete shock because I wasn't living alone anymore. I was living with my parents, who I like a clean house, and their house is messy as fuck. And I like using like safe chemical or safe household cleaners that don't have chemicals in it, and they use like really harsh chemicals and with cleaners, and so that was making me like and our house was so messy, so it was like stressing me out, and like, oh, I felt like I had to clean everything. And when I was like hypomanic or something, I would feel crazy cleaning. I cleaned this whole bathroom, and that was messy as fuck because there's like this whole shelving thing in the bathroom, and it was like junk from like years and years and years, and like paint cans at the bottom, like some of them were empty and like half used. And so I organized that entire um, closet, and like in one go. And then my dad walked in and he was like, yeah, like that. Because I think he had like given me some guidelines about what, I should do with it, like where I should put the paint cans and stuff. And he walked in and he was like, good. And I think I organized their cabinets and all this stuff. People who have hypomania and stuff can relate to this probably, especially since our house was so messy. And then when I went completely psychotic, I can remember like opening all their doors and windows to try and like ventilate all those chemicals that I was very sensitive to. Um, and because I think your senses like get heightened too, so smells and I don't know. So yeah, and I was like tearing down their curtains because their curtains were so dusty and dirty and yellowed, because they don't clean their curtains. Like, if I had curtains, like if anything in my apartment gets dirty or to a point where it's dirty, I'm like, whoa, I need to clean that. And I do my laundry a lot, and so yeah, I was like, I gotta clean their curtains and rip them down and wash them. And basically, it was just a shock moving in with them because I wasn't living the same lifestyle I had been for 5 years. Because I did move, well, 5.5 years, because I moved back in with them like for a short time when I was 20 years old, which wasn't that big of a shock because I had been living with them since I was 19. But so I moved back in for one semester and then I moved back. And it was still hard living with them then, but anyways. So that drove me a little off the wall, moving in with them and leaving my old lifestyle completely. And obviously, I was living with my parents now, so it wasn't like I was having this private life that I had excluded from them. I had to have like some accountability um, for all of my actions and everything. And also, my dad, I think the very night that I lost it, like around 5 or 6 p.m. when he got off work, like also, like I said, my parents are incredibly messy. Um, like if they watch this, they probably won't care because they'll be like, yeah, I know, we're messy. And they know that I have a problem with it. But anyways, so they have a lot of roaches in their kitchen, and it just like boggles my mind why they didn't just like get an exterminator. And I think it's because my dad is like, I'm a man and I want to take care of it myself. Um, but I think recently they did get an exterminator, pest control people in there. But anyways, so yeah, so they would have this spray, this roach killer spray, and as everyone knows, that stuff smells terrible, makes like this mist of chemicals, and it's like really toxic. And every time he sprayed it, and my room was like right next to the kitchen, so it's like kitchen, the bedroom I was staying in. So all the odors and chemicals seeped into my room, and there was like nothing I could do about it. Because he would get off work and just It's like, how can you breathe that in and not be like, that's hurting your lungs or unhealthy for your lungs? He's a smoker, so that is maybe why he has no problem with it. Like, I feel like no one in my family has like olfactory nerves in their nostrils or something, because like smells don't affect them whatsoever. I could talk about that for forever. Anyways, um, so yeah, I was really freaked out because of fucking roach killer, and maybe some of you will be like, maybe those cleaning chemicals messed with your um, neurochemicals too. Sorry, because clean it. Because whenever I talk about like emotional things, my nose starts running. Like maybe if you're in therapy, you notice that. Like I don't know, it's like underlying subconscious emotions coming out. But anyways, so maybe like the stuff in those cleaners and chemicals. And also, I was eating very unhealthy when I was there because, yeah, I had gone from like a healthy vegan food where I was buying my own food. I moved back into my parents because I didn't have student loans anymore. I graduated, and I was relying on them for food, and I was eating things that were like high in sodium because I was just eating vegetables out of the can because that's the only way they eat vegetables. Like they rarely eat fresh vegetables except in like sandwiches. There's like a tomato and lettuce in there. Um, but yeah, they don't eat much fruits and vegetables, which is like all I eat because I'm a vegan. And so I had to not starve to death. I had to eat unhealthy things. And I still was a vegetarian. Trust me, I was still a vegetarian, but I had to eat eggs, butter. Did not eat milk because I think milk is just disgusting and gross. But I ended up eating butter and eggs. And this was after I left the first hospital because I was forced to like eat the food that they gave me, which was also completely disgusting. So I was like, so they kind of like psyched me into eating unhealthy food just to survive. And they're like, you have to eat something or you'll die. Or, I don't even know. And I thought I was going to die because I wasn't eating enough. So yeah, unhealthy food, all the chemicals in their apartments, the shock of moving back in with my parents, antidepressants, being delusional already, and yeah, then I just snapped, like I say in my video, I just like snapped and just went cray, 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 like zoing, you know, and yeah, like it wasn't like, and like with my psychosis, it's very spiritual, which a lot of people wanted me to do like a mania versus spiritual awakening video. But yeah, very spiritual. I thought I was the Dalai Lama. I thought Jesus was talking to me. I thought that I had to repent for my sins. I felt like really guilty, and I thought, yeah, I was having like a breakdown of my ego, is what this guy called with the channel Bipolar or Waking Up. He's like, oh, bipolar is just a breakdown of the ego or whatever. But it's just like psychosis, I'm pretty sure. Which is, you know, my last therapist called it, you're getting false positives and you're tuning into a radio station that most people don't tune into, which is funny that he said radio station or another, you're tuning into an extra station, because when I was hallucinating, having auditory hallucinations, I heard like radio sounds, and like when I was in the hospital, I heard like noise over the loudspeaker, um, and I would hear like a radio talking about how there was like this conspiracy going on. Like I would hear like news stories that were like so far fetched, and like it's like what's going on in our world right now, but worse. And I feel like it could even be stuff that is going on in the world right now, like really terrible things. And I was like tuning in to some radio station or some conversation, maybe tuning into another dimension. Like this one lady in the hospital, she was talking about this nuclear highway, or this like, yeah. Um, anyways, so we think about, anyways, that's totally off topic. But yeah, I guess that pretty much sums it up of what I would think of what totally made me like extra stressed out and extra vulnerable to such a major um, crisis that made me go crazy. um, So yeah, I hope that answered some of your questions. I hope I was thorough enough. I probably said more than I needed to. So yeah, I'm trying to make shorter videos and only answer one question. Yeah, I'm gonna start answering only one question per video so that they're not 30-minute long videos because my viewer retention is 30%, which is really bad. People are like leaving after 5 minutes. That's like the average watch time for my videos. So I'm gonna try and make my videos as close to 5 minutes as possible, but this was kind of a big topic, so it's a little bit longer, obviously. But anyways, I have a blog where I'm going to talk about stuff. I have a therapy appointment tomorrow, so I'm going to talk about what happened in there. I'm sorry, my camera's focusing weird. But yeah, it's rawsammy.blogspot.com. You should look at my recommended channels list on my channel. There's a lot of cool people you should check out. And I have Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. Alright, and there's links. And I hope this video gave you some information and answered your question. Alright, so I hope you guys have a really good day. Bye!